Hey, everybody, good morning. Welcome to Business Over Breakfast. My name is Ben Barber, and this is Lori Jatari. Hey, Lori.
Hi, Ben. Oh, it's opposite.
Yeah. How
How
are
are
you?
you? Good morning.
I'm good. How are you?
Very well. Thank you.
Awesome. So yeah, it's been a little bit, obviously, since we did this. How are you doing in general?
I'm doing well. It's funny, we took 2 weeks off or 1 week off or maybe a year. Like time is irrelevant at this point.
Ti
So
time is super irrelevant at the moment.
yeah.
Absolutely. So what have you been up to? You went on vacation, I believe?
Yeah, we went on vacation. My son lives in Maine, and so we each year grab a beautiful remote campsite in Freeport at a place called Wolf's Neck Campground. The sun is good. It's
I should
shining
have,
on you.
yeah, I should have thought about that
You look
beforehand.
like you're at a campground. It looks beautiful.
I'm just at my new house,
Uh,
and yeah, and my office has like a back porch, back patio under the porch area, so I thought it would be a nicer change.
yeah, that's wonderful.
Um, yeah,
The
and everybody gave me a lot of grief about how bland my background was during the fair. In my office. So while I haven't decorated it yet, I'm gonna enjoy outside for as long as possible. Um,
it's such a great discussion actually as you say that, because this idea of everybody being on video it's prompted me to paint the wall behind me, which I've been wanting to do, and I get kind of crazy about the reflection on my map of Rhode Island, and so I try, it's really amazing. And my daughter said is doing interviews. And so, one of the things that we're going to work on next week when I go to Austin and meet with her or visit with her is creating a backdrop for her interviews. And so it's become, like, and sometimes we see your son run, and I love that part of what's happening right now. This idea of just real life and seeing inside what people are really thinking about all the time, and they always were. We just weren't talking about it.
yeah, I think I did a so this weekend I produced a film festival out of Los Angeles. Which is kind of crazy in and of itself that like I can do that and never left Rhode Island. But so I was producing a film festival in LA, and they she wanted like the red carpet. She wanted like the green screen with the red carpet and the step and repeat behind her. And I was like, this isn't working. Like the camera isn't nice enough to pick up the greens. Like there isn't enough light and depth, and nobody's going to the studios.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's just trying to do their own things from home. And I was like, I know you want this. Let's day of it wasn't coming together. She bought a new camera. The camera didn't work because all like high quality webcams are sold out right now. And I was like, look, and capture cards are sold out. And I was like, look, let's just frame your shot. Let's just get some set dressing, find a wall, we'll put some stuff on it. And she did. She had a beautiful painting of this queen that we hung up, and then there was a nice thing of a picture of horses, and she has this gigantic wooden giraffe that is
Mm-hmm.
awesome.
Mm.
And so she sort of framed her shot, and I'm like, look at people are just making do with whatever. Look at Seth Meyers for the last month. He's
Right.
he's been. I mean, all of the late night shows have done this, but Seth Meyers has really made uh, having an oil painting of a sea captain behind him a part of like an endearing part of the show, and
Right.
part of and like the possibilities are endless. And
And Seth, he also did something with the books, right? That were in the stack next to him.
yeah, before when he was in his attic, he was changing out his books every single time, and putting fake sequels to the Yardbirds, and having like discussions with wasps that live in his attic. And it's perfect in its imperfections,
Right.
And if there's one thing that 2020 has done for media and entertainment, it's stripped away the need for perfection
Mm-hmm.
in a beautiful way, that if you are a business owner or an entrepreneur in general, or um, someone that needs to make somebody that's a content creator, you don't need to be afraid of perfection anymore. You don't need to be striving for the Hollywood budget of things. If you can't do that, like, you just need to start where you are.
Here's
And
so why do you think it happens like that now? Do you think we're just more accepting of it, or that there's just so much more of it?
I think that we always would have been accepting of it. I think that now that we were forced to see, like, Jake Gyllenhaal with long hair, and he looks kind of meh and like a normal person, like, now everybody else can feel a little bit less self-conscious on camera, but and so on and so forth. But also I think that it just goes to show that the quality is subjective, and the quality has always been subjective.
Right.
There's a reason why people blew up on Vine when they were using like a crappy Razor phone to film themselves 10 years ago. There's a reason why. But like, if something is good, it's good. If the jokes are good, if what you're saying has merit, you want to have the best production quality that you can.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not, there's so much more about it is about storytelling, and about it's about storytelling. It's about having something to say in general, a message, whatever that is, whether you're trying to make people laugh, whether you're educating people. Like, if somebody's spending 30 seconds to 30 minutes with you, like, have them get something out of it.
Yeah.
And if you're not, if you're doing that, it doesn't really matter if people can see the reflection of the softbox in the background of your Rhode Island map. It doesn't really matter.
I wish I had a softbox. It's just a window.
All right.
Yeah. But I think initially it was like probably March or April, which feels like 2 years ago to me.
It does.
It's was, oh, now we get to see inside your house. And then it was the kids. And now we get to see what you're actually doing inside your house while you're working and taking care of your kids. And then it became, oh, that's just my dog barking in the background. It's just nothing, and it just becomes like, it used to be, how could they be on a call with a dog barking in the background? And now it's just like, yeah, I personally have always strived for that realness. And in some ways in the work world, maybe 5 years ago, I would say that was shunned a little bit. You had to create this corporate facade about being a certain way, or looking a certain way, or acting a certain way. So not too many jokes, no fooling around, no, really, like, being yourself as you move around in this particular world. And it lends itself to all the cultural norms that we create, and all the socialization that we've experienced in our life. I mean,
absolutely. And I think that I think that it's breaking down barriers in a way that is obvious if you look for it. And I think honestly that I'm a good example of that. And here's why. I think that if you look at me, right, I'm not going to put on a suit and go to and like knock on the door of some of the people that I've gotten to work with a suit and a clipboard and like all of that information, and try to pitch and sell somebody. I would not be working for the Lieutenant Governor's office if I had to go solicit that. In 3 years ago, like I wouldn't have produced an LA Film Festival living in Rhode Island, without that. And I wouldn't, the way that I present, like the t-shirt, and I'm a large dude, like this is a physical manifestation of these things that are true anyway, and they are true for your business, and whatever it is that you're trying to do. Like, we want authenticity more now more than ever. And and if you can be authentic and you can do what you say you can do, then the possibilities are endless right now for you.
Exactly. It's kind of interesting, this idea of authenticity, when it's like the authenticity is pushing up against all the media and I gotta say it, our federal government, that's, I think, being completely inauthentic and really trying to push the language of, this idea around that's not real, or that's not, so it almost, the whole thing lends itself to being in this surreal moment in history where I read something yesterday that was kind of funny. This woman wrote, I'm just kind of sick of being like this historical figure in the middle of a pandemic. Like, can't we just go back to being our regular? But I do think that all this other stuff is bubbling up. I wore a suit for many years, and I played the game, but that suit felt like a suit of armor. It was. And now the idea of putting on a suit, I mean, I guess I can put a jacket on, but it's just not necessary because I quit my job in 2015 and have my own business. So, I'm the boss. I can live in jeans and shorts and a t-shirt or whatever. And that's really the beauty, I think, of what we both do, where we support amazing businesses, but we don't have to look like we do that.
Right.
Because we can look like Steve Jobs, and he didn't look like he was doing what he was doing in his brilliant self.
Right. And you don't, and if you are a business owner and you're trying to sell people hamburgers, you don't have to have a commercial that is on par with McDonald's or Five Guys, or, I mean, I've never even seen a Five Guys commercial, honestly, but you don't have to have the production value of that to use the tools that you have at your disposal, like, Facebook and Instagram and all of this stuff, TikTok, if it doesn't get banned, is like, these things are free, and when you pay for them, they're a lot cheaper than TV commercials and newspaper commercials ever were. And like, you don't have to. I've said, like, a million times, if you put a story on Facebook or Instagram of you filming your burger on the grill sizzling, with the sound of the sizzling, with like a caption, like contextual to whatever platform you're on. So, like, if it's an Instagram story, put a fun caption in there, in like the bubble letters and stuff. That's that's very simple and not salesy. That's going to make people that live in your town, that are more likely to like your page, that are more likely to see that. They're more likely, if you do that at the right time of day, when they're thinking about what to have for lunch, that's a hell of a lot better than posting your special for the day in text,
right. So can I tell you a story?
Please.
So I'm a master coach, and I was trained by Martha Beck, who is, she was, I would say, like the first life coach, or the first time the news started saying, oh, she's a life coach. At that time, she was a professor at Harvard and was just working with her students. And so she has a PhD in sociology. And I trained with her in 2005, and then I became a master coach in 2016. And she has this beautiful concept around this cycle of change. And so, we know the only thing constant is change, right? And we're all going through change. And you, especially in the last few weeks, have gone through some pretty significant change. And a lot of families are experiencing that with you. And so this idea of, as we move through the cycle, I use it in not just personal life coaching, but also looking at a business as an organism. Like a business is a thing. And so how does that thing move and change so that it can always adapt, let's say. And so we use this idea of the butterfly, which is pretty cliche, right? Now it's pretty cliche, but there's always this catalytic event that begins, and we look at change in 4 cycles. And so a catalytic event could be something that's very negative for the person or the organization, like the pandemic, if I just focus on business. But it'll relate for a lot of people. So this catalytic event can be very negative, like a diagnosis of something that is going to change your entire life. Or it could be something really positive, like I'm working on my PhD, or I'm about to get married, or something. Like there's an event that makes that organism, that person, that entity dissolve their identity, with basically saying you are no longer that thing that you were. So, or if someone has a child, right, they aren't that single individual now. They are, that has been dissolved. You are now a mom or a dad. And so as we go through this phase of dissolving, this is where the caterpillar climbs in and creates its chrysalis, so that all the DNA of that thing just dissolves. Everybody has everything that they need to regroup, to reimagine what it will look like when the caterpillar comes out. But there are times for businesses and for people that they just need to kind of go in their cocoon and hunker down and let it all melt and fall apart, so that it can be recreated in a new way. And then we move into this second cycle, which is the cycle that I love the most. It's called dreaming and scheming. And this is where I, as a coach, work really well with people and businesses. So this dreaming and scheming phase kind of allows you to dream and scheme. I work with businesses to say, what is your best case scenario? And then work backwards. How do you actually get to that best case scenario? And so the whole thing around dreaming and scheming is fantasizing, optimizing, creating vision boards, like people know vision boards, and really saying, for me, or even for the business, what is the best case scenario? So I could say for a business, like, my best case scenario will be like a global business, which means I have to travel all over and then I realize, like, oh, no. I don't want to do that. I don't want to travel. I want it. So the dreaming and scheming phase helps you kind of figure out what is your best case scenario. And then as the caterpillar begins to imagine and kind of break out, the reality is, if someone went up to like a chrysalis and said, oh, little caterpillar or butterfly, let me just open that for you so you can fly, it won't have the strength that it needs to fly. It has to kind of go through the struggle of getting out, of learning how to fly, and learning being in full flight, creating this new way of being. And the mantra for that square 3, we call it, is like, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be. Yeah. That is the journey. So that's when you're going to start creating what is this best case scenario, which is kind of where you are in your business. And business and people are usually in 2 different places, but you can look at almost everything we do in those cycles. And then the 4th square is the promised land. I'm skating. This is really good. I got here, but it goes back to, you can't forget that change is the only constant. So how long do we get to stay in this cycle of completion before something changes and then we dissolve again? And so it's just, as we're talking about all of this, I think it lends itself to that cycle of change where I could say, where am I in my personal life? Where am I in my business? Or where is my business? Where are we in this world? In the pandemic, are we dissolving? I think we are dissolving. And I think we're recreating this new way of being. But I think that it's just it's a great metaphor for the way we can quickly say, I see where I am. I see what's happening. I'm either trying to claw my way out of the chrysalis, or I'm dissolving, or I'm dreaming and scheming. You know, it's I don't know. I think that a lot of people, there's an opportunity for people to get deeper on their thinking about where they are. And I can see you feeling a little emotional, so I'm trying to.
No, I'm fine. I think that if you haven't taken the time so far during this pandemic, and I say so far during this pandemic because it's a long way from over, and I think that, so like, don't get upset that you didn't take the time March to June when things were really closed and you had a bunch of time. That may happen again. I hope not, but it might. But regardless, right now, you know what that feeling is. If you haven't taken this time to stop and regroup and think and be alone with yourself for a second and figure out what wasn't, the world changed earlier this year completely. And no matter who you are and what happened, your life changed. And it's very weird that it happened to 7 billion people at the same time. And this is the greatest opportunity ever to take a second and think about what you were doing and who you were pre-March, pre-pandemic, and who you want to be after. And who you want to be after, like, it's the dreaming and scheming thing that you were just saying. Who you want to be after can start right now, and you might not want, like, you know, people just want to be a millionaire, and they want to say that they want to do all of this stuff and want to build a giant business and stuff, like, but a lot of that takes a lot of work. And you might not really want it.
Yeah.
If you didn't like working 50 hours a week before the pandemic, you might not love working 70 hours a week for yourself. You might, but you might not. And like, this is the best time to think about what you actually want.
Yeah. What do you really want? I think that when the pandemic started and we were all in lockdown, I've always wanted to write a book, and I thought I have so many essays that I've written. I mean, I have a blog on my coaching. I have a blog, and so I'm always putting things down on paper. And I thought to myself, okay, the whole world just stopped right now, so no more excuses, right? The whole world has just stopped for us to do exactly what you just described. To go inside and figure out what is it? How do I want to walk out of this battlefield? You know, I think that it's, sorry, I just lost my train of thought, but I think,
okay.
You know, it's an important concept for people to start thinking about. And I don't even mean it needs to be a deep concept. It just means find that silent time for yourself and think about your business. The other day, I just, part of my very important work is to sit back and look at the things that I'm doing in my business and make sure that I feel like those things are right. Those things are going to help the business grow. We're investing in the right things, and we're spending our money appropriately and taking care of our people, most importantly. And lifestyle is such a big deal right now. I live in a third floor apartment, and you're in this beautiful outside, but I want to be there. It's
Yeah.
like, I'm working on that.
There's another, I think that, all right, so a lot of times we have these ambitions, right, that we want and we've always wanted, and there's probably a reason you haven't done it. If you have an ambition, if you want to build a giant business, if you want to become an artist, whatever it is, there's one or two reasons why you wouldn't do it. Like, it's either you're afraid of something, but you might, like, the taking time to decide if that's something that you actually want. If you haven't done it, there's probably something that you want more, and it might be comfort, because all of these things are really difficult. Like, for example, I personally, like, would love to go make movies myself. Theoretically, I would probably have to leave here to do that as a profession, and I didn't want to do that. But if you asked me what I wanted to do, and still, I mean, I still do, like, what do I want? I want to write and produce and direct TV shows. That was my dream, like, from the time I was a little boy to right now. Why am I here? Why am I not in LA? Why, like, I went to New York after high school. I went to New York and I went to school for theater, and my teacher, my main acting teacher, was like, "You're great, but you should go. You want to go. You clearly want to be in charge. You clearly want to do your. You want to. You don't want to act. You don't want to be an actor and have a. So, like, go do your own thing. Like, I think that you should do that." And I did, but
And
I came back home.
like, did that feel right to you?
Oh,
Like,
completely. I was like, yeah, you're absolutely right. Just the pure thing of acting, that wasn't for me. I do enjoy acting, but it wasn't my thing. My thing was creation. And there's a lot of creation in acting, so I'm not saying that, but my thing was full bore, like, bird's eye view creation. And he was like, "Go do that." And but I didn't. I could have gone somewhere else. Like, I was 19, I could have gone somewhere else. There was a part of it that was fear. There was a part of it that was wanting to come. My grandmother wasn't getting any younger, and I wanted to come home and do that. And my parents weren't getting any younger, and I wanted to be with them. And but there's a lot of uncomfortability in your dreams, because if they're drastically different from the life that you're living now, and if you're not pursuing them, this is a great time to have a conversation with yourself about what you value.
Yeah.
Because maybe you value other things more than the dream, and maybe you can find a creative way to do a mix of both things. You can take this time to dissolve and then figure out what kind of butterfly you want to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think that's such a great ending point. Because I would say for you, it's a moment of gratitude, and you're doing a lot of producing, and you're doing a lot of taking steps toward your dream. And that, I think, for everybody is the important piece here. And I know we got deep today.
I find it hard to have a conversation and not get. Anytime that I stay on the surface in a conversation, I feel like I'm just in, like, fake host mode.
I think that in coaching, it's very hard for me when an executive says, I only want to talk about business, because you can't. It's really hard for someone to think that they can only do the business stuff. If it's coming from them, the person, then it's really hard to split. And so maybe this is the the valuable lesson that maybe we don't have to split anymore. It's time to make some moves.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with that more.
I think so. Do you want to? We should dedicate this deep session to your dad. Would that be a good thing to do?
Absolutely. I mean, I think that everything everything that I do right now. So for those of everybody who is watching this probably does not know this, my dad passed away a week ago, and I was supposed to take time off. Everybody said take time off, and I could not do that last week. Last week was the busiest week professionally that I've ever had. I had the award show, like I said, which really felt like a blip. It should have felt like a big deal, but it was a blip because we took the Washington County Fair, which is maybe the biggest event that happens every year in Rhode Island. 125,000 people over 5 days, full of agriculture events, FFA, 4-H, 26 nonprofit food booths, a full amusement park. We did all of that, and because of the fact that they, support all of these local nonprofit vendors, and all of these kids all over the state work so hard every single year to give all of these things to show. It was really important that we found a way to pull it off, and we did. We created a 5-day virtual event that had concerts and segments that included every single aspect of the fair, and I hosted it, and I produced it, and I edited everything. And so I was working on the fair from 6 a.m. to 2 a.m. every day, and then hosting it from 6:30 to 9:30 every night.
Okay.
And so I haven't even had a second to really think. And then yesterday I had most of the day off, and I was like, I don't want to. And I called my uncle, my dad's brother, and I was like, I don't really want to take a lot of time off. Like, it's the pandemic. I can't, my mom's in a nursing home. I can't go hug her, like, I can't go just spend all of my time with her right now. Like, I don't want to be as crazy as I was last week, but
Right.
like, I want to keep going and keep, you know what I mean? Like, so I'm good, but yes, absolutely. Thank you very much, Lori. I would dedicate
There were a lot of
everything.
people thinking of you, and
Thank you so much.
that you are doing a lot of work in the midst of all of this. And so maybe it is time to find like a couple hours to just
A couple hours, yeah, absolutely. Like, I'm definitely
I think a couple hours every day, actually.
yeah, no, like the amount of work that was done last week was insane and shouldn't be done again. But yeah, taking some time and making sure that I'm taking care of myself, absolutely. And literally just getting outside, taking quiet walks around the yard, and it's taking quiet walks around the yard, and
Yeah.
and like just chilling, meditating, and journaling and writing, and just spending some time with friends, which I haven't seen my roommates really that much. I got to hang out with them last night for a little bit. It's a lot, but but it's great, and I'm really glad. Like, I love, this isn't work. Like,
That's
this isn't work, and like, at noon, like, I'm fortunate enough right now to be the person producing, like, the 12 o'clock show today for the Lieutenant Governor, where we have the head of the DBR, the head of the DLT, the head of the SBA, people from Commerce, the heads of the Rhode Island Small Business Coalition, you and Chris and Justin, like, and then small business panels. That is such an important thing. And it's an hour, and it doesn't feel like these things are all, I'm very fortunate right now to be doing good things for good people.
Yep.
So I feel great at the moment. And as long as I take other time for myself, I feel fine. But yes, absolutely, Dad, I love you. And all of this is for you.
That's good.
So thank you, Lori.
right.
Let people know where they can find you.
Yes, I absolutely will. And I didn't mention Joellen, but she is doing outdoor yoga and didn't realize that this was at 9 a.m. And so we will probably see her when the weather gets colder.
That is, well, thank you so much. And we can pre-record a segment with her or something too.
Oh,
So
cool.
yeah,
Okay.
we could always do that.
Visual Thrive is doing some amazing videos that are coming out in a couple of weeks around the pandemic and small businesses. So that'll be on the Visual Thrive site and the Shop Local Rhode Island site. So the stories are amazing. We are amazing. I mean, people are incredible. So let's just say, be kind to each other. I feel like Ellen DeGeneres. We just need to be nice to each other and work hard and support each other and have a great day. I may not see you at noon today because I have a very dear friend driving through Rhode Island. So
oh, that's awesome. Well,
yeah.
That's great. And it's important to always take time for that.
Yes.
It's important to make time for the things that are important. And if you don't know what that is, take this time to go through your values.
That's your message today. Meditate, find some silence, and dream and scheme.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Lori. Right. This is awesome.
All right.
And check out Visual Thrive, guys. Bye.